And Vidianto
Wijaya.
Yeah, he's playing blue-white Delver with a kind of a Talran Sky Summoner angle.
Okay.
Most notable element of his deck, main deck mental missteps to go with the gut shots. He's very, very zero cost oriented.
I was talking to Vidi before the match. This deck list that he is playing along with Sherwin Poo is designed by Mark Leluc, the Grand Prix champion from Anaheim. So It'll be interesting to see how those guys do at this tournament. See if their take is better than the other takes, the Jerry T take, the Adam Prozac take. Everyone has their own version of Delver. We'll see which one kind of ends up the best.
So Seung has Blood Artist and Droff's Messenger. Certainly not subscribing to the Patrick Sullivan Blood Artist is terrible newsletter.
Correct. As we do see a Blade Splicer here from Vidi.
Yeah, Vidi's got the Insectile Aberration, Blade Splicer, a Golem, and a Rune Chanter's Pike.
As I believe our table spotter is just getting him a Golem token out right now so we can represent the game state. That backwards Nicol Bolas will not do. It will leave soon. But now it's up to Seung to kind of get things in order here, because he's definitely on the back foot right now. Blood Artist will probably have some sort of minor effect on this game, but Dross Messenger has basically been blanked here by the Blade Splicer, and he is taking the beatdowns from an Insectile Aberration.
Now, one of the things about these zombie decks, though, is how much damage they're capable of dealing. Like once you have Dross Messenger and Blood Artist, you sometimes get to a critical mass where all your cards start chaining together to do a bunch of damage. It's not clear he can pull it off in 2 turns, though. And from this board, it looks like he'll be lucky if he, things would have to go right for him to even live 2 turns.
Yeah, with that Rune Chanter's Pike looming, and we're not really sure on, what kind of bonus it's going to provide, we can assume at least probably +2 to +3 at this point. It's probably not as full power as it is in some other situations, but yeah, this game is going to end in short order one way or the other.
How much burn does Seung have?
So looking at Seung's deck list, we see 2 Mortar Pods, which is minor and burn, 3 Brimstone Volleys as well, and then 3 Sign and Bloods that can target Vidi. As we are going to see another Dross Messenger, and you can count that as burn as well if you'd like.
Absolutely.
The Blood Artist providing potential reach, along with Fume Spitter, being able to sacrifice that, providing potential reach as well with Blood Artist in play. So he has some ways to get some damage across and gain a little bit of life, but again, time is the issue.
Now, as far as sideboard, does he have anything in particular that's going to be helpful facing down the Blade Splicer?
Looking at the sideboard, we do have 2 Smelts, which he could potentially bring in just to take care of the Blade Splicer token. We are going to see a Phantasmal Image here from Vidi put on the stack. Going to resolve in copying Blade Splicer. Not a bad target in this matchup.
Yeah, it looks like Seung's actually going to have to combo him out, basically, because he's not getting through for any more damage on the ground. Yeah,
those Messengers will be able to get in just to be able to get their drain too. And then there'll be 2 Blood Artist triggers, so it'll provide a little bit of reach for him, but attacking with those and then them dying, they're going to come into play tapped, and then Vidi's going to be able to actually attack them back with the Golem tokens and the Blade Splicers.
So if he attacks with the 2 Messengers here, if he has Brimstone Volley, I think that's 11.
2, 4, 5, 6. That actually is 11. Is Vidi tapped out too?
Yeah.
No access to Mana Leak?
Yeah, he has just 1 mana. He could have Vapor Snag. He could have, I think Vapor Snag is the only thing he could have outside of if he wisely just chump blocks.
Yes.
He could always chump block with the Phantasmal Imaged Blade Splicer instead of actually killing the Messenger.
As we are going to see another Blood Artist here. That's definitely going to change some things, because now he has to consider attacking with, am I going to attack with 1 Messenger? Am I going to attack with both Messengers? Potentially no Messengers. If I do attack with them, is Vidi just going to take it? Because he can realistically take 6 damage here and go to 5.
Right.
But that's risky too, depending on what's in Seung's hand. So.
Wow. Exciting game.
Now, I believe Seung only has 1 card left in his hand. We don't know what it is, kind of like Vidi, so we can kind of play the guessing game along with him. Depending on how Seung attacks, there's a lot of different things that Vidi has to keep in mind, between blocking and reach. And, Vidi doesn't have the deck list like we do, so Vidi doesn't know if he has something like Killing Wave in his deck.
He does gut shot the Blood Artist.
Okay.
And this is in response to the first Blood Artist, I believe, right?
Gotcha.
Or to the second one?
It'll be in response, to the second Blood Artist. And that's going to deal Vidi a total of 3 damage and gain Seung 1. So let's see what Seung is going to decide to do.
That was VD at 9 or 8? It could always be that he missed the trigger.
It could be. I think we're going to get a confirmation from our table spot. It looks like he's going to be going down to 8. Yeah, he's going to be moving down to 8. Seung deep in the tank. I know that feeling. What do you do when you're deep in the tank, Patrick? What kind of
brew?
You I normally run my hands through my afro, agonizing. I don't have much hair to pull right now, but that's only what I do. But you always know it when you see it, deep in the tank. Seung is just going to pass back.
Interesting. What does this mean? Is he hoping to bait Vidi into an all-out attack and then play some removal spell in combat? I don't know. Because the problem is he's not making any forward progress this way.
Yeah, passing back isn't... It's just really not going to get him anywhere. He's going to have to attack eventually.
But if he has a removal spell, Vidi wastes 2 mana, puts it on the pike on the Insectile Aberration. And this game's in real good spot for Seung.
As we're getting confirmation here from our show director that Runechanter's Pike is currently a +5. So with it being +5, quick math, 3 + 5 is 8. Puts Seung down to 4 as we see Vidi come across.
So we're going to find out. I'm betting Seung doesn't have a removal spell. But if he does...
We see him move to 4 and we see a double post
combat.
Does
not. So Seung needs to draw some reach.
We don't have a Brimstone Volley to draw to. Falcon Wrath Aristocrat sure would be nice right now, though.
He has Brimstone Volley, right?
Or, excuse me, Bonfire of the Dead.
Yes, Bonfire would be real.
To draw to.
Bonfire would be GG.
Falcon Wrath Aristocrat would have done a number on this board position as well, but it doesn't look like he has that either. So what can he do?
Going through the permutations. He doesn't look like a manager Brimstone Volley.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
But it's possible that he's just looking at the possible. The problem is, even if he has Brimstone Volley, if he attacks with 2 messengers, Vidi could chump with 2 1/1s so that neither messenger dies. Takes 2 from the Blood Artist, going to 6, and the Brimstone Volley would knock him to 1.
And 1 is not done.
Oh, he has a land.
There's a land.
So if Brimstone Volley doesn't win it for him, does anything? Sign in Blood?
I think it would have to be a Sign in Blood targeting himself.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I would have to find, again, Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, I think, is the only thing that can really save him. And I think if he had that, he would have cast it by now. So, and I feel the same way about Sign in Blood as well. If he had that, he would have cast it. As we're just serving with 1 messenger, that's risque.
Does Mortar Pod do anything in this position?
As we see an attack from the messenger, instantly blocked by the Golem token, which moves Vidi down to 5 and Seung up to 5. But that block could have just gotten him killed if it was Brimstone Volley. That was a bold block.
Gutsy. No guts, no glory, though.
Here comes Insect. If he has a removal spell, and that looks to be 1, that's a Dismember.
Wow.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
And he had even made forward progress with that excellent Dross Messenger.
Yeah. As we see a Blood Arch trigger knocking Vidi down to 4, Seung up to 6.
And this game's starting to look all right. I mean, Seung still needs to draw something live, but...
So we're going to see an Augur of Bolas here. We see a Ponder, a Seacrum Coast, and a Thought Scour. I'll give Seung credit. He's given himself the best chance to win this game for sure.
Absolutely.
Which is all you can ask for given the board state right now.
I mean, was he just...
We're going to see a Ponder here from Vidi. Looks rather...
Now, was he just dead if Vidi had moved his Runechanter's Pike over to a 1/1 and swung with the team?
And swung with everybody? I think so. VD kept with his Ponder, so it looked like it was something he was relatively happy with. Feels like a Vapor Snag to me. Seung drew his card. Back in the tank we go.
Intense game.
What can he find to get himself out of this one? Is it both messenger time?
And Seung's playing more the new style of Black-Red Zombie that you were talking about, right? With no guess verdict, a little bit more fancy stuff, the Aristocrats, the Cavern of Souls.
So we're going to see some attacks here. First Striker on the real one. Phantasmal Image on the Dross Messenger without a counter. It's going to deal VD 2. It's going to gain Seung 2. He's going to go up to 8. VD down to 2. It looks like a go. It is a go. 3/6 Delver. Flipping to Thought Scour, which VD set up with Ponder. That's a concession.
All right.
To game 3 we go.
Yep, Seung had won game 1 before we joined him. Moving into game 3. It's interesting. VD's actually got quite the sideboard against zombies, with multiple Blade Splicers, 4 Celestial Purges, all these Phantasmal Images to copy all the Blade Splicers and the Augur of Bolas's and the Snapcaster Mages. And this is a fair bit of goodness.
Pretty hateful.
What does Seung have in his board?
I mean, now that Seung has probably a better idea of what VD is playing. You know, he probably didn't see Blade Splicer game 1, saw it game 2. 2 Smelts, which is not great, but he also does have Runechanter's Pike as well. So definitely has some targets. 2 Guess Verdicts in the sideboard. Again, not great, but you know, something that he could potentially board in. 3 Pillar of Flames if he wants to try to fight Delver that way. Also, there are multiple Talaruns in VD's deck, so he can have that. And then 2 Liliana of the Veil, which is much better on the play than the draw, but again, I'm not sure that's the angle of attack that Seung is going to want to go with. He definitely has some options available to him. It'll be interesting to see which routes he tries to take to win his games. I think the only thing I think the only card that's kind of a sure thing is Smelt. Do you kind of like attacking Blade Splicer and Runechanter's Pike that way, or are you more of a fan of, I don't want to dilute my deck with that kind of card, I just want to be as aggressive as possible to try to kill him?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you got to be real sure your opponent's got a lot of artifacts, because like here, VD actually, I mean, obviously doesn't have his deck list, but VD only has 1 Pike.
Okay.
It's his only equipment, and the 2 Blade Splicers out of the board, there's a good possibility that the Smelt just ends up being a dead card. I'd rather just focus on creature removal in order to deal with the Pike.
Okay.
And if you fall behind it, sometimes you just lose.
Okay.
But better to be as proactive as possible. It's tough though, because you have no idea, you know, if he pulls out a bunch of swords, or if he's got, you know, a lot of Blade Splicers, that Smelt could be game winning. It really just comes down to, you know, what kind of a game he's expecting there to be.
And that's kind of the advantage of playing Delver. You know, that particular game, you know, if you're sideboarding right now, if you're Seung, you're probably thinking to yourself, you know, I lost that game because of Runechanter's Pike. Like, it dealt me X amount of damage. When in reality, VD only has 1 of those, kind of a miser's copy, that can do that, but, you know, he's not really Pike-centric. So there's a lot to go into how to sideboard against him, because, again, he doesn't have the numbers like we do. So he's not really sure which way to fight him. But I do agree with you overall that the best way, especially with Seung being on the play, be proactive as possible and just try to get VD dead as fast as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if he just curves out, you know, if he goes 1, 2, 3 while on the play, he has a good chance of just running VD over, particularly if VD doesn't draw a Celestial Purge. Or a Phantasmal, or a Blade Splicer. Yeah. I mean, this is a totally different game if VD doesn't have one of his 2 Blade Splicers.
And the thing about this matchup that I found just from playing it, seen it a bunch as well, and doing coverage on it, is when the Zombies deck starts with one of its 1-drops, preferably one of the 2-power guys, not Fume Spitter. Yeah. And then, you know, is able to go, you know, another 1-drop, maybe a 2-drop, hopefully not Blood Artist, because they want to get a lot of power on the board. Maybe play Blood Artist around turn 4, turn 5, and then maybe a turn 3 Messenger, and just be able to put Delver under the gun as fast as possible. That's where it gets its wins. Especially in the sideboarded games where they do have access to Celestial Purge, they do have access to Blade Splicer. Some people, even though it's fallen out of favor, do have access to Timely Reinforcements as well. You know, you really have to just push him over as fast as you can. As we see both players looking at their opening 7, Seung unhappy, taking a mulligan down to 6. VD looks as though he's going to keep his 7.
That's a man with a Ponder and a Delver in his hand. You can tell by the look on his face.
He kept pretty quick. He's not displeased. There might be a Celestial Purge hiding in there as well.
I don't know about you guys, but I am ready for Ponder to ride off into the sunset. Its work here has been done.
Time to go?
Dude, I remember the first time they made Ponder and nobody appreciated it. Nobody knew how good they had it.
I remember the talk. Why would I play this in Fairies?
Yeah.
Blue-black Fairies? No way. You're crazy if you're playing Ponder in Fairies. I remember those days. And now, anytime someone casts the Ponder, it's a grumble from the opponent.
It was preordained that ruined the illusion for everybody. You know? Like, at first people didn't understand preordain either, but once people figured out preordain, they're like, wait a minute. Even a really, really bad preordain is really good.
I mean, in Modern right now, we're working with Serum Visions and Sleight of Hand,
yeah.
And those cards are still reasonable.
Yeah.
Not great, but I mean, if you need that effect, those cards are perfectly fine at doing it. We're not playing with Obsessive Search here. It'll be interesting to see if they print another card with like that similar kind of function, a one-dropping cantrip. I don't know what direction they could go in with it now, but we do have Thought Scour, so
it'll be a few years. They're not going to be able to help themselves someday, but they're going to be. I think they're going to pull back on that for a little while because they definitely pushed it too much.
Seung is going to keep his. He's going to keep his 6. He's got a good start. That's Gravecrawler's one part to it, as we do see a Delver.
There's a Delver.
Bit of a read there from Mr. Chapin. In comes Gravecrawler. Now, does he have a second land? And if he doesn't have a second land, does he have another 1-drop?
Like a Ponder to go find it?
All right. He does have his red with Dragon Skull Summon and a Diagraph Ghoul, so he does have access to his red cards like Brimstone Volley, like Pillar of Flame, and another powerful 1-drop. So it's on Vidi now. As we see a Delver of Secrets drawn, and he does have the Ponder that you spoke of.
Wow, weird. What are the odds?
As we are going to see that Ponder that Patrick predicted from Vidi, going to be looking to set up a flip with his Delver. I do see 2 islands there and potentially a blue-white land, so we may see a shuffle here.
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting here with just, with 3 land, with multiple land on top of your deck and a couple of Delvers. You want to get the business on.
And we do know, again, that he does have a Delver in his hand, too, so it's pretty important that he does set this up so that his Delvers can flip and we can play the racing game. Decisions. Ooh, we do see a Celestial Purge over there, too, and a Vapor Snag, so Vidi does have a very, very nice hand. Not sure how many lands that hand contains. There's a Gut Shot hiding in there as well. So oddly enough, he might need those.
He does
lands.
keep it. He wants to make sure he hits his land drops.
As we're going to see a Glacial Fortress here. Just going to pass back. Interesting. I guess playing the Delver doesn't really have a ton of value just because it's not going to flip.
Do you think he's afraid of Art Trail?
Could be. In for 4. Just going to knock me
I don't
down
know.
to 14.
So, like,
oh boy. Oh boy.
See, I think you play your Delver there just because you want to put the fear into Seung that he's about to get the beat down. I mean, you Ponder kept. If you put out another Delver, Seung would have taken his turn off instead of messengering to kill one of those Delvers or something. It's very possible, just because that's that's the kind of clock that he could actually lose the race.
As we do see a Vapor Snag from Vidi on the end step after he took 2 from the Diagraph Pool. Messenger came in for Seung as well. So as far as a mulligan to 6 goes, this is pretty darn good for Seung. He's got the pressure. He has another creature that he can play, of course, from the Diagraph Pool in his hand. It's up to Vidi to be able to get all the cards out of his hand and not to die. As we do see a Delver.
Yeah, see, if he would have played the Delver last turn, he could play his Snapcaster this turn, Snapcaster the Ponder, set it up and try to actually flip both Delvers next turn. As it is now, I mean, what's his plan to win the race against this Messenger? Does he have the Purge?
He does have a Purge in his hand.
Then why not Purge when Seung is tapped out? If you wait till Seung untaps, you could be in a world of hurt if Seung verdicts himself or dismembers or anything himself and kills his Messenger.
Yep. We see a 4th land from Seung.
This is a unnecessarily fancy play.
Just a little bit risky.
He doesn't get punished for it this time.
Yeah, it's going to work out for him. He's going to take 2. He's going to move down to 10. We're going to see the Ghoul, and I know that he has a Brimstone Volley hanging out in his hand as well. So Seung's mulligan to 6 is quite good.
This is exactly what he wants to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the aggressive 1-drops. He's got Dross Messenger. He's got a burn spell.
That gut shot in Vidi's hand is I don't want to say it's dead at this point, but it's getting worse and worse as the turns progress.
Yeah. Gut shots, you know, not the greatest card in this matchup. It does kill the Blood Artist, and in a perfect world, it might do something to a Flume Spitter or an Aristocrat,
But again, at what cost?
yeah. A Phyrexian Red.
You know, 2 life is, you know, something.
Is that the Brimstone Valley for 3?
That's for 3.
That is not a good sign. That is not a good sign.
That's interesting.
Does he just have another Brimstone Valley?
I don't know. That's very, very interesting that he would cast that there. I think especially given the situation and then the fact that he did mulligan to 6, every card he needs the 5 instead of the 3, I would feel there. So we see him tap.
Now, because it's interesting. If Seung realizes that Vidi kept his Ponder and didn't flip his Delver last turn, odds are he's not going to flip his Delver again.
I would agree. I'm very, very interested to see why he would cast. I mean, of course, he's casting it so it doesn't get Mana Leak. I mean, that much is obvious. But again, is it worth, you know, playing around Mana Leak to get the 3 damage versus the 5 and waiting? Because another thing that happens in that spot.
Now Vidi's playing defensive. He knows his life is down.
Yeah, another thing that happens in that spot, it changes the way that Vidi can play, because before he would have to play around Brimstone Volley quite a bit, you know, and always be worried about a 5-point Brimstone Volley, whereas now he doesn't have to be worried about it as much. And he does have another volley in his hand.
Oh wow, and the Blood Artist.
And a Blood Artist. Can't play both this turn, those are his last 2 cards. He's willing to let that Blood Artist get Mana Leaked.
That's kind of nice. The fact that he Brimstone Volleyed first left Vidi on the defensive.
So we see a gut shot there. It's going to knock Vidi down to 4, Seung up to 18. We're going to see a Snapcaster Mage here, likely targeting Celestial Purge. It's going to purge the Gravecrawler. Going to trade there.
Seung now left without any way to trigger that Brimstone Volley.
Are we flipping? Oh boy. Put on your racing shoes, buddy. Here we go.
Seung looking for any way to deal 1 damage to Vidi on a 3-turn clock.
And Vidi revealing Ponder there. And this is turn 0 of turns. Thank you very much.
We're actually on a clock.
Vidi revealing Ponder there is a huge game. Being able to potentially search for a Mana Leak.
And he's got exactly enough turns to win.
To win, yeah, because this is turn 0, 2, and 4. All right, so Seung. And we're going to see Fantastic.
Wow, now the Brimstone Valley doesn't even force the draw anymore.
What does he draw? What does he draw?
Looks like a black card. No.
Dross Messenger.
Oof. Wow, Oof. This is going to... Wow.
That's going to knock Vidi down to 2. Seung is going to be taking a crackback that looks like it's going to be for 9. It's going to put him down to 3, but 3 is not 0.
Wow. Could Vidi have a Mana Leak in his hand?
What do we have here? We see a Thought Scour.
Himself?
Seachrome Coast. Thought Scour. Draws a mystery card. Seachrome Coast.
I think that's it.
His hand is Seachrome Coast Island. Seachrome Coast comes into play. Vidi is flipping him over. Vidi is conceding. Seung on a mulligan to 6, and what a mulligan it was! Wins the match 2-1 with his Black Red Zombies deck over Vidi Wijaya. Vidi Wijaya, excuse me.
Intense game.